Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope all of you are doing well and doing great. My name is Deepak. I have 15 plus years of experience in this field. So let's move on. So let's start with the first topic and let's understand first of all that what exactly is the WordPress. WordPress is also abbreviated as like WP. So what exactly is WordPress? So WordPress is basically free and open source content management system, which is also known as CMS, which is written in PHP and it's paired with MySQL or MariaDB database. So you can opt either of the one database service you want to choose. Now, basically there are a couple of features with WordPress. First is it's extended with plugin. So if you want to basically integrate with different APIs, different programs, tools, you can easily integrate. It supports that. Next one is it has easy theme system. So basically you can just customize the theme. You can customize your interface the way that you want. Next one is it's search engine optimized. Next is like it's very simple and easy to use. No like very complex knowledge required. It's very simple and easy to use. It's flexible. You can make customizations the way you want, and the user management. So basically, if you want to manage the users, you want to create the group, you want to assign the roles and everything that you can do very easily here. Now, let's talk about what is GCP. Before we are going to talk about GCP, guys, let's take a step back. Let's understand the cloud. So, if you are able to understand this entire like use case that I'm going to tell you with the help of problem statement, then everything is going to be easy, specifically in terms of concepts for you guys. So, before we talk about GCP, let's talk about what exactly is a cloud, why it was evolved. So basically, cloud with the help of cloud, you can basically share your files, your data to another person. Now you are saying that like what's new to this? So in earlier days, if you talk about, in the old time, in the legacy time, whenever we had to share some data, whether it's a file, application, you should have the connectivity, that you should have a network in between. In addition to that, you should have a medium. So for us, the medium that we used to use was like external media. Like if I had to share some data to my friend, I'm going to use maybe the floppy drive. I'm going to use maybe the CD. In that, I'm going to copy the data, or maybe I'm going to use like LAN cable with the help of which I'm going to connect two computers, and I'm going to share the data between these two computers. This sounds easy. We can do it, but that was not that too easy. Think about it. I had to share my data to someone, like I have to share 100 GB of data to someone, and if I'm going to share that data via the hard drive or pen drive, it's going to become a big hassle. First of all, the thing is that if I'm going to put that data in a hard drive or something, if that is going to be lost, my data is going to be compromised. Next thing is that if I have to share the data to someone who is living in a different city, different country, then in that case, it's going to take a while to to send that data to him. And maybe like by the time he's going to get that data, that like the critical time when he was looking for the data, the time is gone. So it's of no use for him. And so at that time, the cloud was introduced, wherein with the help of which you can host your data, people can use your data. And at the same time, if you are traveling somewhere, you can host your data and you can use it anywhere, anytime. In the beginning, when this was introduced, so many people have so many concerns that this is not a secure mechanism, this is a contradictory thing, it's going to, spoil everything out in the beginnings. Like people are on the plus side and the minus side. Later on, slowly and steadily, people, try to understand the benefits of it, and even the people who were there on the negative side also came on the positive side. And after that, so many changes happened done in the cloud world, and it has evolved so much right now in this today's world that we are huge and heavily dependent on the cloud. So many companies who are basically not the companies who were even using the on-premise platform are eagerly looking to migrate their entire platform, entire data from on-premise to the cloud. Now, why you will understand. So when we basically started at that time, we started with basically just sharing the file. Then we realized that we are getting good response. How we can make the people life easier. Now, what we found is like what we can do is that we can try to share the files as well. Now, for example, there is a company who have 100 employees, and this company basically majorly deal into the sales. They try to make a sales. They get a contract, and then they give that work to someone else, maybe some freelance or someone, and they are going to put their commission. Now, this company has a branch, let's say in India and in the US and in the UK. Now, there are three countries involved right now: India, US, and UK, and all these three, countries are working for the same client. Let's say there is a client whose name is XYZ, who has again the branches worldwide. Salesperson who was in India, he is working with the Indian entity, which is XYZ. The person who was in US is working with the US, branch. The person who is in UK is working with the UK branch. Now, what they did, they were entering the data in the Excel sheet, and the person who was in India, again, the time zone difference is going to be there. So the person who was in India, he created the entry of XYZ client. He added some value and he added some percentage of profit, and he just signed it for a day. After that, the person in the UK, he came in and he was able to make a gig. He updated and he was trying to update, and he realized that, wow, who updated this entry? Then he is going to override his entry and he's going to update it. And the person in the US, when he will come online, then it will be, the night for the Indian people, evening for the UK people. He is going to override this. Now, this kind of issues is going to have, it's going to make the data inconsistent. And it's like no one's fault. It's not going to be a fault of the US employee or UK employee or Indian employee. The problem is that we don't know like who is working on which data, because we have one file. Well, someone will say that that's not a difficult thing. We can have multiple copy of a file. That sounds easy. Think about it. If I have 100,000 employees in my organization, am I going to maintain 100,000 copies of it? No, right? It's going to become a big nightmare. How I'm able to see that which data is inconsistent, which data is consistent, how much sales we have given every month? I'm not going to compile all this 100,000 files and accumulate the data. Then the cloud gave us a solution wherein you can store your file directly on the cloud, like a SharePoint, for example, and you can make an edit, update directly in the real time. So, for example, if I'm in India, I'm working on 25th row. The people, when they will come online, the people who are in UK, when they will come online, they will be able to see that I'm at 25th row. I'm making an entry in that cell. Same thing will happen for the people who are in the US. So it will really, really make everyone life so easier that you don't have to maintain multiple copies. You don't have to worry about like your data is getting manipulated and everything, which make the life easier. Now after that, we decided, well, we got a very good response. We are able to make a good progress. Now what extra thing we can do? Now these are the two problem statement I'm going to explain you. Then I'm going to explain you the solution statement. If you are able to understand these two problem statement and you are able to understand these two solution statement, then the concept of entire cloud is going to be clear to you guys. So the first problem statement is, let's say a guy whose name is Bob. He used to work in a company, and at the age of 5 he resigned. He was a developer. He resigned his organization and he opened his own startup, because he realized that I'm working in my organization from last 30 years. I give a very good profit to my organization. Now, he being a developer, he thought to create his own organization. So because he thought to have a startup, he don't have that much funding. So what he did, he hired 10 employees, and for those 10 employees, just to save money actually, because his hands were tight. So what he did, he basically purchased 10 older configuration laptops, like second-hand laptops. So he purchased 10 laptops with core to duo processor, and he purchased with, let's say, Windows 7 operating system. The hard drive was, let's say, 250 GB, RAM was 2 GB. So he purchased those laptops. Now he got a project from an organization which was of tenure 6 months, wherein he realized that in order to deliver that project, all his 10 employees will need higher configuration devices, because these developers will require heavy softwares like Visual Studio and different software. Those softwares are not compatible with the laptops that he has. First, it's not compatible with the operating system that he has. Second, it's not compatible with the hardware specification that he has. Now, the solution is that he can purchase a new laptop. If he's going to purchase a new laptop, then in that case, he have to make an investment for 10 laptops. And what he will do after 10 months? Maybe he can get another project after 10 months, maybe which is for 2-3 years. And for that project, the kind of work and effort which is required can be done on the older laptop. And maybe after 3 years, now he will have like 10 plus 10, 20 laptops, and those 20 laptops are going to be end of life, because maybe he got now i3. After 3 years or 4 years, there's going to be a newer configuration. So maybe that will not work. So what he will do with that? And another thing is that now if he has to purchase new laptop, he has to basically make an investment on the hardware. which is the laptop. He has to purchase the investment on the software, which is operating system. He has to purchase a license, which is basically the Windows keys, and at the same time, he will require some maintenance. He will require a person who can basically help in installing the operating system, maintaining it, doing all this kind of administration stuff. So it will require a lot of time and money. Now, let's say he got that project for 6 months of $10,000, and he realized that the kind of investment, time, and effort he has to make, he has to spend, let's say, $15,000. So in general, he is getting zero profit. So in that case, what will happen? This guy can leave that project. Now, it sounds easy, but not, because that was his first project. If he's going to leave that project, it will spoil his name and fame. That's the first problem statement. Now let's talk about the second problem statement. Let's say there is a guy who work in a company. He don't have that kind of challenge like the first guy has challenge basically with the cost and all. So this second guy works in a big organization. He got a laptop, which is a very hard configuration. So he got a laptop with i7 processor. He got a laptop with 1 TB of hard drive, 16 GB of RAM, and he works as a solution architect. And his job is to design the solution for the company by understanding the use case and deliver it in them. Now, his company in which he works, the second guy, his company got a very big project, and that was like those customers were the highest revenue generator for them. So what he did, he worked day and night, and he realized that now he will require to create 8 virtual machine, 2 with Windows Server 2012, 2 with Windows Server 2016, 2 with Windows Server 2019, and 2 Ubuntu-based operating system, a virtual machine. He realized that even though he has a good hardware configuration, but he cannot build all the virtual machine on his system. So maybe he will require extra hardware like hard drive, or he will require extra, laptops. So what he did, he created the all virtual machine, all environment on the external hard drive and on his own laptop. He worked day and night. After 1 month, when he was traveling to client location, he lost his laptop or he lost his hard drive. Now he's going to go to the customer side, and when the meeting was scheduled, if he's going to say that, oh, I lost my hard drive, my system, it's going to be embarrassing from him, right? And he's representing a company, not as an individual. Now, in both the cases, cloud has given the solution. In the first use case, where the person who was working in, the person who was owning the company, wherein just for 6 months project, he has to make an investment of $15,000 to purchase the hardware and maintain it. What he can do is he can leverage the cloud. Now, cloud has reached to that extent wherein you can just spin up your resources on the cloud as per your requirement, wherein this guy can pay for 6 months, he can take a subscription, he can create 10 virtual machines on the cloud with the configuration that he needs, like Windows 10, and with, let's say, 1 TB of hard drive, 8 GB of RAM, whatever the configuration that he wants, and he can download the files in the RDB format. So, and then from all these 10 laptops, the employees can RDP, which is remote desktop connection that they can make, and they can log into their devices and they can work. After 6 months of work, when the work is done, they can just decommission these virtual machines, and simple, they can save the money. Now, for this $10,000 project, if you look at the investment, he just had to pay hardly $3,000. So he make a profit of 70%. Wherein in the past, where he had a loss of 50%, now he's able to make a profit of 70%, which is a really good deal for him. Now, similar with the second use case, where the person who was traveling to another city or a country to client location, so now he don't have to carry this bulky hardware, this laptops, hard drive. He can just build everything on the cloud, and he can just go with empty-handed, and at a customer's location, he simply can log in with his cloud account, and he can just demonstrate everything. So here, if you see, having the need of everything, like having the need of entire platform where you require bulk hardware, now there is no bulky hardware required. Having the need of everything with your hands, now you don't require anything. So having from everything to nothing, that's the kind of the beauty of the cloud that the cloud has given. Now, I hope that you got this understanding. Now, the organizations basically have given you different, so many advantages. Like, for example, with the case of Microsoft, Microsoft has given you the Azure service, which is basically as a cloud service. Similar, your Google has given you the cloud service, which is named as GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform. Similar, your Amazon has given you the cloud service, which is known as AWS. Because these are the different cloud services. Today, we are talking about GCP, which is again one of the cloud service which is given by the Google. Now, what is GCP? GCP stands for Google Cloud Platform, This is a suite of cloud computing services and management tools offered by Google. Now, if you talk about the locations, as if now Google Cloud Services are available in all these locations which are being highlighted. Now, sooner and the later, these cloud services are going to be expanded to different countries. Now, if you talk about GCP domains, these are the major domains of the GCP. So again, uh, e generally each and every domain in itself is a different world. So for every domain, I can talk about at least 4 to 5 hours. But based on the time constraint we have, this is a webinar, not the class. So I can just give you a little bit overview of it. So compute domain basically is responsible for when you are basically creating the services. Like for example, you want to create a computing resource like a website or a database or a virtual machine. You want to define the resources for that. That falls into the compute category. In the storage and database, basically you define that what kind of storage you want to use. It suppose different kind of storage. You can opt for the storage that you want to use, and depending on utilization, you're going to be built for it. Next one is networking. Some people think that since this is a cloud world, you cannot create your own internal IP. That's not true. So basically, in this case, you can create your internal IPs. You can just create your public schema or private schema. Even you can decide your own public IP address. All that kind of customization is supported by this. Next is a big data. It supports a direct integration with that. Then you have a developer tools. Basically, if you are a developer, there are certain tools which are available that even you can leverage from the cloud to on-prem and on-prem to cloud. You can have a direct integration. Next is identity and security. So it also supports IAM, identity access management, wherein you can just define different users groups, and to different group you can assign permissions, and the users who are going to be part of that group are going to inherit those permissions. Next is your IoT, which is Internet of Things, wherein you can just combine with different technologies and form a single solution. Last one is the cloud AI, so it also supports a direct integration with the artificial intelligence. Clear? Now, if you have to host the basically WordPress on GCP, so it basically consists of two major steps. In the first step, what you have to do is you're going to go on a platform like this. You are going to start a new project, like the way we have started a new project, and you have to select the WordPress instance that you can see in the screenshot. Once you're going to select the WordPress instance, you're going to have a screenshot like this. Once you have done that, then in that case you can configure your WordPress instance, and then you can deploy it directly here, as you can see. Now, if you talk about once you have deployed, once you have basically created a WordPress instance, then in that case, after that you have to basically map your domain name, and you have to set up your SSL certificate. SSL certificate basically is used for encryption when the communication is going to happen between client and the server. That communication has to be in the encrypted format. Now, in this case, here I'm going to provide example.com. This example.com is going to be resolved to this IP address because I have done the binding. At the same time, I have to basically use HTTPS instead of HTTP. If I'm going to use only HTTP, then in that case, the data which is going to flow from my client side to the server side is going to be in a plain text format, where anyone can intercept and can try to listen to my communication. So these were the steps. Now, if you talk about learning at Edureka, so if you're interested in going in much more detail about the entire course and all, then this is going to be the learning part for Edureka. So basically, in the first class, you're going to learn about Google Cloud Platform, its components, its dependencies with the hands-on. In the second class, you're going to learn about how you can manage GCP with the perspective hands-on. In the third class, you're going to learn about Google Cloud Platform, what kind of networks you can have, how you can basically create the different networks, virtual networks, virtualization, everything with the perspective hands-on. Then in the fourth class, you're going to learn about security and identity fundamentals with the perspective hands-on on it. Then after that, you are going to learn about compute services with the perspective hands-on. Then you're going to learn about data storage services with the perspective hands-on on it. Then in the next class, you're going to learn about architecting with Google Kubernetes Engine with the perspective hands-on. Then after that, you're going to learn about application development with the perspective hands-on. Then you're going to learn about big data and AI services with the perspective hands-on. And in the last class, you're going to learn about automation, how you can basically automate the entire things with the hands-on. And at the end, you're going to become a superhero with a cape like this. Just kidding. So you will have a lot of knowledge at the end. I mean, so what are different benefits of hosting the WordPress on the GCP? One of the primary benefit is the uptime. Since this is a cloud platform, you don't have to manage, maintain. So it's going to be highly available and it's going to have highly resiliency. So you are going to have a lot of uptime. Next is that it's very simple to deploy. It's not like that you have to basically do things because it's like a hosted Google basically many complex platform. So they have made the life easier for you to support a lot of clusters. All the clusters are going to be written in Backend, and you can the cluster in the back service as well. So as you scale up, you want to scale down depending on your requirement. You can scaling is that you want to increase or decrease the resources. Let's say I started with my project with maybe 4 GB of RAM and 500 GB of hard drive. I realized that I'm getting a very good response from the market, from the people, and I want to increase the resources. So you can easily increase the resources. Like for example, you can increase from 500 GB to 1 TB. At the same time, you can increase the RAM as well. So it's basically scalable. You can easily customize it, and as well as you can easily scale up your resources as well. So here in this case, it also you can scale up or scale down the resources depending on your requirement. Okay, guys. So we can wrap up for today. Thank you for joining this today's webinar. I hope that you have enjoyed a lot and learned a lot. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.